Hey everyone, we're going to work on composition of functions. So the first thing we're going to do is look at a table where you're giving the x values, your f of x, that means your y, and your g of x. So the first one we're going to do is a here. So we can rewrite this as f g of 1. So your 1 is your x value. So you go to the top line and find 1. And we want g of 1. So here's your g. And so that equals 0. So this equals 0. So you do f of 0. Now you go to 0, which is here on the x. And then you go to f. So f of 0 is negative 1. Alright? So basically when you're writing this, it's f g of x. Now, we're going to do the same thing, but we're starting with something different. So let's write it as f g of negative 1. So go to negative 1 on the x line here. And so there it is. And we want g. So here's g, and that's going to be 0. Alright, so then we do f of 0. And you go to 0 on your x, because this is your x. And then look for f, and that's going to be negative 1. Alright, the next one, we have g f of negative 1. So first, go to where x is negative 1, which is here. This is your x, and we want the f. So go to f, and that's going to equal negative 3. So this is negative 3. Then you do g of negative 3. So go to negative 3, and there it is right there, and we're going to g. And g of negative 3 is 8. So this whole thing equals 8. Now, the next one we're doing, which one? This one. So we first going to write it as g f of 0. So go to 0 and then go to g. So this part right here equals negative 1. Now you're going to do g of negative 1. So this turns into be your x. So go to negative 1 and go to, actually we did this wrong. I did it wrong. So you go to 0. Sorry. Alright, start again. So f of 0. So you go to f, and that is negative. Well, they're both negative 1, so that's no big deal. Alright, so now go to negative 1, and now we're going to g. And at g, it is 0. So this would be, this whole thing equals 0. Alright, and the next one is this one. So we're going to do g of negative 2. So go to negative 2, and at g of negative 2 is 3. So this equals 3. Now go to 3, and g of 3 is 8. So this whole thing equals 8. And the last one is f of negative 1. So first go to negative 1, and f of negative 1 is negative 3. Now do f of negative 3. So go to negative 3, and f of negative 3 is negative 7. So this whole thing equals negative 7. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.